Today in Reynolds Coliseum, 5th-ranked NC State welcomes fans back in the building for their dual opener against the West Virginia Mountaineers. Coming to you here on the ACC Network Extra, we welcome you to Raleigh. We welcome you Matt side here in Reynolds. Alongside Ryan Tice, I'm Andrew Sanders. Thanks for joining us here this Sunday afternoon. Well, Ryan, NC State has built a tremendous program here under Pat Popolizio. They've got a good environment. It's great to have the fans back, and they are once again favorites in the ACC.
Yeah, they are. They are coming off 3 straight conference championships and a number 6 finish at the NCAA. They're going for a team title this year, which requires a top 4 finish at Nationals.
They have some key returners back from that 2016 #1 recruiting class. When you bring them back for a 6th year, that's always huge. And Pat Popolizio really feels like, partially because of the key returners, they've got more depth than ever.
Yeah, and it's bared out in the first 2 weeks of the season. In some of these open tournaments, NC State has had backups go in and beat former NCAA qualifiers and currently nationally ranked opponents. That is where the depth is on this Wolfpack roster, and it's quite impressive.
Speaking of very impressive, Peyton Hall is young for West Virginia, but he's already an NCAA qualifier, and head coach Tim Flynn says he's the type of student athlete you can really build a program around.
Yeah, he's young, but he's not just an NCAA qualifier. He made it to the blood round last year. 1 win away from All-American honors, and that matchup at 165 pounds is going to be awesome. 2 nationally ranked opponents right on top of each other in the listings.
All right, we'll start at 125 pounds when we come back. Great crowd back here in Reynolds. There's the head coach of the Wolfpack, Pat Popolizio. His team embarking on its 2021-2022 journey with a dual meet here against West Virginia. The Mountaineers come in 1-1 on the season, took a loss to Oklahoma, but defeated Davidson, winning 9 of 10 bouts on Friday. We started 125 pounds with Ryan Tice. I'm Andrew Sanders. It's 9th-ranked Jacob Camacho of NC State against the sophomore Colton Drusius of West Virginia.
Camacho comes into this match ranked unanimously in the top 10 according to all the major wrestling media outlets. Drusius is getting his chance here. West Virginia's normally got All-American Killian Cardinale at this spot, but he is still on the mend back from off-season surgery, so Drusius gets the chance.
Camacho, some action early. Drusius fighting it off so far. Camacho 3-0 on the season. Drusius is 2-3.
Camacho working that front headlock. Drusius has his elbow trap, got that arm in deep, trying to prevent any points.
Finger, stay out of him.
So yeah, unfortunately, we were hoping to see Camacho against the All-American Killian Cardinale. But Drusius has been the backup, and now he gets an opportunity at a top 10 guy.
Yeah, Camacho Cardinale would have been one of the best matchups of the weekend. 2 top 10 guys going at it, but Drusius is out there and looking tough through the first minute and a half of this first period.
Stall warning green, stalling green.
A stall warning here. An early stall coming with 1:30 left in the first.
I think Camacho had been forcing a lot of the action so far, which helped draw that call a little bit. He was the one shooting. He had his opponent down on a front headlock for a long time, so.
Jacob Camacho, 2020 ACC champ and the most outstanding wrestler at the ACC championships a couple years ago. Twice an NCAA qualifier.
That was a nice shot there from Camacho. He kind of almost was surprised, I think, at how deep he got in. And it was almost like it was a deep shot, but not a fully committed shot, if that makes sense.
This a little more committed for Camacho. Drusius in a bit of trouble there, and yeah, there's the 2.
Nice quick finish there from Camacho, and he's going right to work on top.
Very early in the season, things obviously a lot different this year just in terms of fans. And You get that home crowd advantage when you pick up the takedown. You hear the crowd for Camacho, and also very different just in the number of matches that these guys are going to get. I mean, NC State has not competed in a dual match yet, but we were talking beforehand, and some of these guys have close to the same number of matches as they got in the entirety of last year already, just in a couple of open tournaments.
Yeah, I look at like 141-pounder Ryan Jack for NC State. He had 10 matches all of last year as a part-time starter for the Wolfpack. This year, I believe he's already up to 8.
Yeah, he's 7-1 on the year.
And the guys, those young guys especially, they need those matches and those reps. One of the things Pat Popolizio has told me about Ryan Jack in particular is he's wrestling his best when he's not out there thinking, and it's just natural. And I think that comes with more reps and more opportunities for these guys.
Because obviously with the depth that we touched on just a moment ago, the quality in the room is good. So you're getting quality reps, but not in front of the crowd, not when the lights are on, and not when your team is counting on you in the duel, right? That's the difference.
Yeah, it's a huge difference. And a lot of these repeat freshmen, these guys that were freshmen last year and still freshmen, as you see Camacho escape, they've never wrestled in front of a crowd before. For Ryan Jack, I think this will be his first opportunity. For Isaac Trumbull, a guy who's got a win over an NCAA finalist, this is his first chance wrestling in front of the crowd here at Reynolds, with it not just being friends and family. Great reshot there from Jacob Camacho, and that's going to be 2 points again.
So he gets the early escape here in the second, now looking for a tilt.
Yeah, and he was going right into that. This is one of the areas that Pat Popolizio said Camacho needed to work to improve, was on the mat. They know that he was good in neutral. They just wanted to see him improve on top and bottom. And getting a turn like that is exactly what they were looking for.
3, now 4 swipes.
Holding two, same.
And he releases the holds. Or pardon me, only a 2-point.
I thought he counted 4 swipes as well. I was a little surprised when he held up just 2 there.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. I swear. I can count to 4.
Macho working a real deep tight waist with his left arm, looking for cross wrist ride here, going 2-on-1. And right back to that tight waist.
Short time here. Macho with a peek at the clock, and the second period ends, but that's really a differentiator. Obviously, he's already one of the top wrestlers in the country, top 10, an ACC champ, so on and so forth. But that's really the differentiator between being great and being truly outstanding, is the ability to rack up those bonus points.
Yeah, exactly. And you saw him almost get that turn at the end there to get maybe a quick 2 points or so. Not able to do it, but he goes optional start and wants to get right back to work in neutral.
Yeah, and why not? Because as you noted, this has been his bread and butter.
Yeah, this is where he's at his best, and I think the coaches were very comfortable with Jacob Camacho as a neutral wrestler. They just wanted him to improve on the mat, both sides. And you see Camacho really pushing the pace here, I feel like. Now going double unders, looking for a trip. Nice snap down and spin. And that's going to be 2 more.
Able to keep him in to score another takedown. And we've seen he was pretty tough on top in the second period. Well, take it back.
Optional start again, yeah. I was just going to say when they were running back, I wouldn't be surprised to see him go optional here.
Still red.
Not out yet for Drusus.
1, we're neutral.
And there's the escape. Yeah, that's interesting to see because, again, that's something that they've worked on so much. How does he want to try to get those points because he already got the turn, but obviously able to get a takedown basically 10 seconds after finally at the escape point.
Yeah, and he's got riding time locked now. He's over 2 minutes at 2:10. Now he's working a bar on the left side. We'll see if he's able to run that with something. He's up 11-2, effectively 12-2 with riding time, but I don't think he's going to be satisfied with a 10-point victory here.
Nice with the fans back in to start at 125. Start with some good pace, right?
You know,
some energy to get this duel started.
Get us started right.
As soon as Drusius escapes, there's Camacho again. He's so tough, even with 20 seconds left, thinking about a cut.
Yeah, he's really pushing his opponent here, and I would not be shocked to see one more takedown before the final whistle. I must have jinxed him.
It'll be a major decision for Jacob Camacho.
That was all Camacho. I've got him with 5 takedowns in that one, plus a 2-point near fall. Impressive performance for the Wolfpack 125-pounder. Here's his 2 near fall back points that he got off of a bar tilt. And here's one of his takedowns on the edge of the mat. Just a great snap down, spin around, and get your 2 on the edge of the mat before your opponent goes out of bounds.
So the Pack up 4-0 after that major decision by Jacob Camacho. There's Hayden Hidley waiting for his turn. Be at a different spot this year at 174 pounds. But at 133 coming up next, we've got 17th ranked Kai Orini of NC State against Garrett Lotzenheiser.
Yeah, and the one theme for this NC State team has been guys changing weights.
That's right.
Most of them moved up. Kai Orini moved down. He went from 141 pounds last year, where he was a backup to Tariq Wilson, the All-American, moved down to 133, and he has won the starting spot over 2-time NCAA qualifier Jarrett Trombley.
Once again, a lot of depth in the room at 133, and so Orini, the redshirt freshman from Imperial, Missouri, gets his opportunity. And yeah, as you say, you know, most guys, as you and I well know, as you get older, you put on a couple pounds. It's easier to move up, right?
That's right.
But, you know, talking to Pat Popolizio, really felt like 133 is a good weight for Orini and one that he can make really easy.
Yeah, he called it the right weight. And if you go and listen to Kai Orini on the Pack Mentalities Pop-Ins podcast, I think he was really comfortable with the cut down as well. He even mentioned he kind of anticipated it. He anticipated the coaches asking him to drop down. So he had it in the back of his mind. Once they brought it up, he was all in, and now you see him winning the starting spot. Although Pat Popolizio was quick to say he's not going to count out Jarrett Trombley yet, a guy that's
certainly not
been to the NCAA championships, won a match there. Just goes back to that incredible depth that this team has.
Orini 5-0 on the year. Lotzenheiser is 3-2. Finished third at the Clarion Open, wrestling unattached. Now, he's a freshman, so a couple of young guys going at it here.
Yeah, and Orini, by way of earning this starting spot with his win over Trombley, cracked some national rankings this week, ranked number 17 by Intermat. And in the national rankings where he's not listed, Jarrett Trombley still is. So I think that is an indicator that once these other outlets update their rankings to Orini, he'll be in there. And there's a nice takedown from Orini.
Yeah, so Orini getting an opportunity, as you said, you know, in front of the fans on the big stage and with a number next to his name.
Yeah.
And Lotzenheiser, again, you know, was wrestling unattached at the Clarion Open as a true freshman. He was the only wrestler. I noted earlier that West Virginia dominated Davidson and won 9 of 10 bouts. Lotzenheiser was the only Mountaineer not to win. He actually lost by major decision. So this is a bounce-back opportunity for him on this weekend, wrestling a ranked guy. And for Orini, obviously, mentality is he's looking for bonus points.
Oh, yeah. He's like a shark. He should be out there smelling blood in the water right now. Nice job dropping down to those legs and keeping Lotzenheiser down. Great job there from Orini. And you can see how good he is on top. That's one of the things Pat Popolizio said about him. He's really good on top, and he's got good length. And we're seeing that right now with Orini. He actually rode Jarrett Trombley out when they met up at the Wolfpack Open last weekend in his 2-0 victory.
He's got 25 seconds here to make something happen.
Continue to work.
Already up well over a minute of riding time in this first period. A peek at the time, 5 seconds left.
Aurini's going to finish this period provided he stays on top for these last 2 seconds with 1 minute and 42 seconds of riding time.
Setting the tone.
Absolutely. That's a dominant, as you can get with a 2-0 score pretty much.
And he does ride out Lotzenheiser.
It's tough when you get a restart with 2 seconds left to get an escape. I mean, it's a stand-up off the whistle or maybe a Granby roll, something like that. That's the only way you're getting out in that short a time.
So now we'll get a chance to see Garrett Lotzenheiser on top.
One.
And a quick escape, just 4 seconds in. You know, one of the things, and we'll see, obviously, it's going to help with conditioning, the fact that Aurini was on top for so much in the first period. But also, when you're cutting weight like that, you're going to have to do a little more cardio. That should help with his conditioning, you would think. And that was something that you talked to Coach Popolizio about.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when it's a whole different mindset. I know the jump from 33 to 41 is 8 pounds. That doesn't sound like a lot to someone that's not used to cutting weight, but it is. And when you make that decision to go down a weight like Aurini did, it changes your lifestyle. You have to be doing more cardio than ever. And like you said, that's really going to pay off in his conditioning levels. Because that's always the concern when you drop weights. Is this guy sucking too much weight? Is his conditioning gone? And the Wolfpack coaches do not seem concerned about that with Aurini.
Hey, you think about 8 pounds, and 8 pounds maybe not as much if you weigh 200 pounds. But
exactly.
If you're talking about 133, 141, yeah, that's a significant percentage.
Exactly. So we'll see if Aurini's able to add a second takedown. He's right in on the leg, doubles off. And good defense there from Lotzenheiser.
Yeah, well defended by Garrett Lotzenheiser. Freshman from Louisville, Ohio. His dad actually wrestled at Edinburgh for Bruce Baumgartner.
There you
Legendary coach there before Coach Flynn.
That's right. Coach Flynn, the West Virginia coach, was there for a long time. I want to say it was 20-plus years that he helped build that program and keep it achieving at pretty high heights.
Yeah, 21 seasons. That includes a couple of top 5 finishes. Actually finished 3rd back in 2015 and is trying to get West Virginia to those heights.
Yeah, and he had quite a few recognizable names that were national champs. Josh Koscheck, people might know him from his UFC days, was one of them. Gregor Gillespie, another guy that's having a successful MMA career.
So Lotzenheiser is going to start on bottom here. And as you mentioned, Aurini able to ride out Trombley. We'll see if the freshman Lotzenheiser can get out.
Now, Aurini's just really good at dropping down to those legs when a guy starts to stand up on him. That's twice now he's been able to return Lotzenheiser to the mat. And if you're the top guy, that's exactly what you want. A guy builds his base and you break him down to where he's laying flat on his stomach. Nice job from Kai Aurini.
Stalling bottom, stalling green.
Yep, and there is a stall warning because once again, Lotzenheiser flat to the mat.
Yep, you're always in danger of getting a stall call against you when that's the case. Aurini trying for a tilt there, not able to get anything, and now we got a scramble on the edge of the mat.
Lotzenheiser is off the mat. West Virginia
Neutral, escape.
calling for 2, and if he hadn't run out of real estate, he would have had it. He does get the escape, however.
Yeah, awfully close to 2 points there. They just ruled loss of control and 1 point for the escape.
A good scramble there, nearly had the reversal.
Yeah, I think Arini just got a little sloppy there, looking for the turn, maybe committing to it a little too much, you might say. Gave Lotzenheiser a little too much space.
Stay in.
And he's obviously had the ride time point locked up for a while now, so it is effectively a 3-point lead here.
Yeah, 2 minutes and 41 seconds show on the clock for riding time in favor of Arini right now.
This is a much better performance by Lotzenheiser than he had on Friday.
Yeah, and Tim Flynn knew his team was going to have to perform better than they did against Davidson to have a match. I believe the number he gave us before the match was 10,000 times better was what he wanted from his team. Arini trying to get 2 at the end of the match. Not going to get it, but he will lock up a 4-1 victory.
Attack on the bonus point, and Kai Arini able to win by decision to put NC State up 7-0.
Good, dominant performance from Kai Arini. We're going to get a second look at his takedown that he scored in the first period.
Here's a recap of what we've seen so far. NC State's Jacob Camacho and Kai Arini, both with victories. Camacho by major decision, and it's 7-0 NC State as we head into 141 pounds. Ryan Jack against Caleb Ray. What do you think about those first 2 bouts, Ryan?
Yeah, I think they've been pretty dominant efforts for NC State. I think that's exactly what we expected out of Jacob Camacho. And Arini, I like what I saw on top from him. And we'll see how that progresses throughout the season with his first chance in the starting lineup.
Well, now here is 19th ranked Ryan Jack, 7-1 on the year. We were just talking earlier about, he got 10 matches last year. He's already at 8 this year, but, he gets his opportunity moving up to 141 pounds. But this is one area where West Virginia, as Jack scores an early takedown, this is an area where West Virginia actually has an experience advantage in Caleb Ray, the senior, but immediately finds himself down 2-0.
Yeah, that was a great little shuck by there by Jack. In on the shot, right to the finish immediately. Good stuff.
Improve.
These 2 programs have met. This is the 4th meeting. NC State 3-0 all time against West Virginia, and they last met in early 2019, back on January 13th. The Wolfpack won here in Raleigh, 26-10. And Ray is the last holdover for West Virginia. He's the only Mountaineer to have wrestled against NC State that day. There is Ryan's older brother, Kevin Jack, an All-American here at NC State, and he's been on staff now. This is his 4th year.
Yeah, he's been on staff since he graduated. 3-time All-American for the Wolfpack. I believe there's been only 11 of those in school history.
Keep your hands free. Stay out of the face.
Kevin and Ryan do have different body types, different styles, I would say. Kevin Jack was almost always the taller guy in his matches.
Always, yeah.
And Ryan Jack, especially being at 141 pounds, I don't know if I've seen him be the taller guy in a match yet this year after watching the Wolfpack Open last week and seeing what we got here today.
He split time last year at 133 as the starter with Jarrett Trombley, moving up. And he went 1-2 in ACC duels, but both of those losses came against ranked guys, against Hayes of Virginia and Hernandez of North Carolina.
Yeah, and that Hernandez result was one that caught my eye. I believe it was a 1-point match. And Hernandez is a good kid, so that was a quality result for Ryan Jack, even though he didn't get the win. Nice shot there from Jack, and he spins out of the funk and gets his 2.
Good technique there from Jack, and that's really the note now that he's at 141. He doesn't really have to focus on cutting much at all. He can focus on strength and on that technique.
Yeah, and we're seeing it there. I mean, when a guy starts funking you around a little bit right off your shot and he's able to get a clean finish like that. That's quality stuff there from the, I guess we're still calling him a freshman, Ryan Jack.
Second-year freshman. There's an escape from Ray, and then right back, 2 more points. But Jack hit that quick.
He had to. He only had about 4 seconds left, and that is exactly what you want to see from a young guy like Ryan Jack. Scoring at the end of periods and scoring right after he gives up the takedown. That was a great shot. Doubles it off, gets out of the funk, and spins around for his 2. And this, I love this one. The guy gets out, he knows he's got a short time. Get that ankle, bring him in, and secure the 2. Great job by Ryan Jack.
Get the situational awareness there for Jack. And as you said, you know, a lot of times as he gets a quick escape, a lot of times the team that wrestles best at the end of periods
We gotta stay out of the face, okay? They're both guys.
will get the win.
Really close there. Let's stay out of the face. Set.
So 3 first period takedowns for Ryan Jack. A lot of action in neutral from him so far.
You know, earlier I was saying that Ray did wrestle against NC State back in 2019. He actually lost by tech fall to Jamel Morris of NC State. The Wolfpack had a couple of guys wrestle, obviously, on that day with a real veteran squad. It was highlighted by Hayden Hidley, who earned a pin at 157.
Center.
Ray in on a deep shot now.
Yeah, there's 2 green.
And an immediate finish there. Good job from Caleb Ray.
And so Caleb Ray with the first takedown for the Mountaineers here at 141.
Yeah, and he immediately threw that leg in. Nice job by Ryan Jack to get that out. And now he can start basing up and working for an escape.
21, we're neutral center. Work center, guys, get in there, get in there.
Takes a quick peek at the clock, sees he's got 30 seconds. We'll see if he's able to add a 4th takedown to his ledger. He did a great job of moving Ray there.
Danger green.
Trying to get to a danger count, not able to do so.
Nothing.
He's running very short on time here.
Nothing. Nothing there. Green, your choice. Green's going to go down.
No points at the end of the period.
It's a good look for Ray there. We've seen that he can generate his own offense as well. Jack, obviously, he's already got 3 takedowns. This has been an entertaining bout.
Yeah, lots of action in neutral from both of these guys. A lot of good, deep shots. Now we'll see how long Ryan Jack can ride. He just went over a minute of riding time.
We're
There's
neutral.
the escape. But as you say, just over a minute now.
Stay legal, gentlemen. Keep those hands clean.
Not as much action here in neutral in the 3rd period.
Banner.
Ray trying to work those double unders.
Off, we got stalling red backing.
And a stall warning goes to Jack.
I think he'll take that call there. No issues.
That wasn't really in a great position to be able to do anything there. You just take the warning and move on, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Not open yourself up to a takedown.
And that's the thing. If he wrestled in, Ray's able to get that spin around, go behind, and get the 2 on the edge of the mat. So I think that's fine as it was.
How about this? Another shot from Ray.
Nothing, we're neutral.
Jack twists out of it, though.
Nothing,
Trying
neutral.
to attack that near ankle.
Yeah, he's still got that left ankle of Ray.
And as long as he keeps that ankle, it's going to be hard for Ray to get his finish here.
He is just bear hugging it right now.
He knows the situation.
Ray trying to work that forearm
Two
in.
green, you got it, green, yeah.
And he's given 2. How about this? So now there goes the ride time as well. Back under a minute. But Jack gonna hold on. An 8-7 decision for Ryan Jack.
Yeah, good little comeback there from Caleb Ray, scoring a takedown in the second period and an escape and takedown in the third period. But Ryan Jack's 3 first-period takedowns were enough to allow him to hold on to that 8-7 victory.
And again, the third takedown was one that not a lot of guys are necessarily going to get, and that was the difference in the bout.
Yeah, and it was a takedown with, I think, 4 seconds left, 3 seconds left in the period. And it was right after Ray escaped. Ray escaped. Jack was in on that shot immediately, knew the situation, finished in bounds, finished with a short time, and really, like you said, that won him the match there.
I think we saw right there maybe the experience of Caleb Ray. All right, here's a look at the movers. As you mentioned, Kai Orini moving down, but Ryan Jack and the other guys moving up. Some of them significantly. You see Hayden Hidley there moving up a couple of weight classes. So how does this change things for NC State? We see Tariq Wilson is set to go next.
A lot of familiar faces, but they're wrestling in new places, I guess you could say. Guys moving them. But I think every one of these guys, Pat Papalizio and the coaching staff, are not concerned about the weights. They thought, Tariq Wilson, when I talked to Papalizio about it, he said he's plenty big enough. He went up a weight and still has to cut down to make weight. So we knew that was a situation with Tariq. He's always been huge. Hayden Hidley moving up 2 weight classes, something you don't see very often, but I know he spent all summer working out, added 20 pounds of muscle according to his coach, and ready to go at 174.
Now, there was a little bit of a wait here. At 149, West Virginia had an Jeffrey Boyd or Braden Roberts. It is going to be Jeffrey Boyd here. You hear Jeffrey Boyd get introduced, but Tariq Wilson was taking his time here.
Building that drama up, I guess.
There was the officials were getting together. I didn't really think there was anything at the end of the last bout. There's only about a minute between bouts. And I think that conversation perhaps delaying some things.
Yeah. Hey, maybe
there was a moment where the West Virginia wrestler wasn't present yet. We saw Wilson, but he obviously still had the hoodie on. And
yeah.
So now we're ready to go.
Well, hey, Tariq Wilson didn't get to wrestle in front of a crowd last year. That's one of the things he lives for. So maybe he's just milking it a little bit. I don't know.
Well, he hasn't wrestled yet this year, but, man, are we excited to see him because Coach Papalizio says he has been the most dominant guy in the room so far.
Yeah, he said we can't compare anybody on the team to him, talking about Tariq Wilson. That's how good he thinks he's wrestling this preseason. He also said, normally when a coach is talking about who made the biggest gains from last year, you normally expect him to talk about a freshman,
sure,
maybe a sophomore. No. For Pat Papalizio, he said Tariq Wilson, the 6th-year senior, has made the biggest gains from last year. And, hey, let's keep in mind, last year he was pretty good, placing 3rd at the NCAA championships.
Yeah. He has all the experience. He's got the All-American pedigree. And he's back for another year, and yet he's made the most gains. That has got to be scary for the rest of the country at 149 pounds.
And I think 149 nationally is one of the more wide-open weight classes. And the NC State coaching staff, as you see Wilson get his 2 there, the NC State coaching staff is very confident Tariq Wilson is going to factor in to that national title conversation.
Good start here.
Back in 2018, he was unseeded and finished 3rd in the NCAAs. That's when he really splashed onto the scene, and people said, wow, how talented is Tariq Wilson. Here's a caution going against Boyd.
Set. Cover legal.
And now this is where, again, we were talking earlier about Jacob Camacho getting better on top. This is where, Wilson is very good, able to get these turns in and can turn, one takedown suddenly into you know, a 6-point lead, a 10-point lead kind of thing.
Yeah, even at 149 pounds, I think Tariq Wilson is still long for the weight. I mean, you see it right there with the guy he's wrestling today. And, I mean, he's just a big dude. It really makes you wonder how in the heck he ever made 133 pounds.
Red. Off, no change.
Boyd
down.
Escorted out here. Jeffrey Boyd 5-3 on the year. So he's got quite a bit of experience on this year. He's a redshirt sophomore, finished 6th at the Clarion Open.
Cover legal, red.
And he is from Erie, Pennsylvania. Was a 4-time state qualifier in high school. He also won a title in 2018 at 132 pounds. He escapes right here.
Yeah, and Boyd does have some good victories on his resume. Last year he beat Chris Sandoval of Northern Colorado, who was ranked number 24 at the time, beat him 7-1. So he's got some quality victories so far in his college career.
Coming off a major decision victory against Davidson, but the challenge is quite a bit higher today against Wilson, and there he is. So quick, too.
What a shot from Tariq Wilson. Just slick as can be, right into a finish. That's what you want to see from your 6th-year senior.
Improve.
So Tariq Wilson looks good here early in the first period.
Already just went over a minute of riding time, up to 110 now.
Green, neutral. Green is going to defer to red.
We're going to take a look at Tariq Wilson's second takedown. Just a shot from open. Immediate finish there. It doesn't get a whole lot smoother than that.
In the blink of an eye. But he is
Set. Cover legal.
so focused coming into this season. And
Set.
he, like several others
right here,
in this program, there's the
Can't
second
roll off
caution.
this. There's going to be a pause. Okay? Don't
to
roll
go
off
against
that
Boyd.
elbow,
But
okay?
he
one.
and several others, you know, we talk about the depth, but it's not just quality
Set.
depth,
Cover
it's
legal.
top-end talent as well. And
Set.
there are guys in this program with depth that they feel like can compete for a national championship at some point. But
One.
Wilson,
We're
amongst
neutral.
others, as he gets the escape, I mean, it's national championship or bust. I think anything less would be a disappointment.
Yeah, and I think that probably goes for the coaches and also for the wrestler himself. I think Tariq Wilson came back with, like you said, his eyes are on a national championship.
Eyes on the prize, to use the cliche.
Look at that re-attack from Tariq Wilson. His opponent was in super
Center.
deep, and he almost turned it
Center.
into offense of his own.
Fingers, guys, get out of them. Get out of those fingers. Stay center. Work center.
And credit here to Jeffrey Boyd. I mean, not backing down from Tariq Wilson. He keeps shooting on him and hanging right in there with a guy whose resume is known all across the college wrestling landscape.
Stay legal.
Just Tariq Wilson's length there causing issues.
Well, Ryan, in your career, I don't know offhand if you ever got the chance to face a top 3 ranked guy in the country, but when you're facing somebody you know that has a good reputation and is such a quality wrestler, that's got to get you your juices going a little bit and amp you up for the match, yeah?
Oh, 100%. I wrestled 2 guys that eventually made the national finals. One of them might have been a finalist when I wrestled him, Franklin Gomez, but yeah, I mean, you know who those guys are, and it gets you a little amped up, but you also know opening you have to take advantage because you're not going to get many wrestling a guy like that.
Working here, 20 seconds left
Wrestle from it. Wrestle here.
in the second period.
Stalemate. Neutral.
It scores actually 7-2.
Center.
Boyd has gotten a pair of escapes.
Here we go. Right on the mark.
Ooh, Tariq Wilson, a little gimpy there when he came back up, I thought.
And that's the third caution. Wow.
It's going to be a point.
You see a caution here or there. It's very rare for us to see actually
set.
3 cautions, but it is part of that, knowing who he's going up against and thinking, look, that's my opportunity.
Yeah.
Center.
Trying to get a little jump whenever he can, maybe.
Stay legal. Stay legal here.
And I think the thing that's not talked about enough with Tariq Wilson, NC State's got a great wrestling history. They've got 8 individual NCAA championships in their history.
Right.
There's only 4 guys who have placed among the top 3 at NCAA's twice, and Tariq Wilson is the 4th. The other 3 are all NCAA champs. So rare company for Tariq Wilson in that category.
And that's the trajectory that they hope he's on this year. And one of 22 All-Americans. He's done it a couple times, as you say.
Great mat return there from Tariq Wilson. Anytime you can do that to your opponent in the 3rd period.
One, center, guys, get in there, get in there, get in there.
It's normally a good thing, but hey, Jeffrey Boyd just pops right back up. He's a gamer.
Action there.
Boyd breathing a little heavy as they come back to center.
Let's get set here. Set.
I tell you, does Tariq Wilson ever look not relaxed?
No, it looks very calm.
Just walking back to the center like he's taking a Sunday stroll.
That maybe more so than the reputation and the ranking might be more intimidating to me. Is that,
Fingers, get out of.
Minute to go in the 3rd period, and obviously he's been pushing his offense. He's been working really hard, but you see the conditioning level is so high for him.
Just wrestle here, action.
And just look at the activity there from Wilson.
Yeah, he is relentless. 2 more.
He is so good at his re-attacks. Other guys kind of faking half little shots. Tariq Wilson just says, all right, you do that, and I'll take a real shot, and I'll tally a takedown with it.
Okay, set. Okay, cover him. Let's go. Get on there.
He's got riding time locked up, so it's effectively in major decision territory right now, but he's not going to ride Boyd out, so he's going to need another takedown to push it back there.
Stay legal there. Stay legal.
And there it is.
I was just going to say, if he gets a takedown, it's going to come off a re-attack. Boyd takes a shot. Wilson scores with it.
And credit to Boyd for continuing to take shots, but he is a counter puncher, if you will.
He goes head hunting at the end, but too little, too late. Big time decision there for Tariq Wilson.
Major decision. NC State now 14-0 in team points. We'll get another look at the re-attacks for Wilson.
Yeah, he was just so good with those. You see those half shots from his opponent. Tariq says, all right, I'll take that shot. Gets in, secures the takedown on the edge. We'll be back right after this.
Back with Ryan Tice, I'm Andrew Sanders. It's been all NC State so far as we head to 157 pounds with Ed Scott and Alex Hornbeck. But Ryan, through the first 4, we got to see Tariq Wilson's debut. Got to see Ryan Jack and Kai Orini at a new weight, and Jacob Camacho sticking at 125 pounds. So it's certainly been an entertaining 4 bouts thus far.
Yeah, and those West Virginia guys, especially at 141, Caleb Ray came to wrestle.
Yeah.
Ryan Jack only able to get a 1-point victory there at that weight.
And, you know, Ray having success when he had the experience advantage senior against freshmen. This is another one where the Mountaineers, you know, Hornfeck is a redshirt junior. He's been a great wrestler for them over the years. But, you know, Ed Scott is, again, one of the very talented young guys in the room for Coach Popolizio and NC State, and he immediately starts with a takedown.
Yeah, he came in as a consensus top 40 recruit. Great low single there from Hornfeck. Not able to secure it yet. There it is.
Yes.
Ed Scott came in as a consensus top 40 recruit. Got to start last year, went 6-6, just missed the NCAA championships. And Hornfeck going for a big move, but Scott turns it into a reversal.
First reversal we've seen this afternoon. The freshman, second-year freshman from DeWaugh, Pennsylvania. He won the Wolfpack Open. He pinned his teammate A.J. Kovacs, and Kovacs, another very talented wrestler. They feel like they've got some options at 157. But as you mentioned, Ed Scott came in with a big reputation, and he only built upon it last year.
Yeah, he did. He looked good, and I think if it was more of a normal season, Scott going for a big move now.
Nothing there. 2, 1.
He's looking for the fall.
3, 4.
Ed Scott, Hornfeck in trouble, and he's able to turn out of it.
I was going to be shocked if Ed Scott somehow got that fall because he was in an awkward position. That was not a traditional headlock by any means, but he put Hornfeck in danger and capitalized with it.
Okay, guys, on my whistle, good start.
Hornfeck was the team's Rookie of the Year a couple of years ago.
Okay,
won the Iron Mountaineer Award. Also an all-academic team in the Big 12 guy, a Scholar All-American team guy. So,
want to go back to something we were talking about earlier, Andrew. You mentioned A.J. Kovacs, Scott's teammate that he pinned in the final of the Wolfpack Opens. Those two have gone back and forth this year. Scott won the wrestle-off. Kovacs beat Scott at the Citadel Open. And then Scott returned the favor and took the rubber match at the Wolfpack Open. So that's why you see him out here. But like you mentioned, two really quality 157-pounders for the Wolfpack.
And again, what does that do for you in the room when you're going up against somebody who obviously, you know, is right in that same ballpark? There's not a clear cut, you know, winner at 157, and it's not just that you're close and, you know, neither are really competing for, you know, NCAAs. These are two guys that could both be NCAA qualifiers.
Oh, 100%. These guys are NCAA qualifier level guys right now. And, of course, you hope they improve quite a bit from November all the way to March.
Well, Ed Scott had a 4-point near fall. Here's the big move. What do you think?
Yeah, like I said, a little bit of a unorthodox type headlock, but it got the job done. There he gets his 2, and the near fall points, he got all 4 of those. So Ed Scott finding a way to get it done.
You can't hang your head here, right down the center, okay?
Hey, by the way, since we mentioned Kovacs, another one of those Danbury, Connecticut guys. We've already seen a couple, right? We saw Ryan Jack. There's the escape quickly for Scott. And we saw Jacob Camacho to start. So the pipeline from Danbury, Connecticut to Raleigh has been strong for Pat Popolizio.
Oh, that pipeline is healthy, and I don't think there are any signs of it slowing down with the success those kids have had at NC State. But look at Scott spinning around, making it look easy, and going for the immediate cut. And he's in on a shot right away, too.
It is a flurry right now from Ed Scott.
And I think one of the things that coaches are really looking forward to is having everybody see this Ed Scott. You know, last year was a weird year for everybody. He was a true freshman. There were just a lot of things going on. He was cutting down the 149.
Different weight, right? Because Hayden Hidley.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it was a way to get into the lineup for him. But right now, this is the Ed Scott the NC State coaches recruited and expect to see from here on out.
You know, Hornfeck had a takedown, went for a big move, and this bout completely swung on. And by no means am I trying to fault him for going for the big move. I'm just saying that was the turning point right there where Scott was able to reverse it. And since then, it's been all Scott.
All Scott since then. And I tell you, if you go back to November 13th when West Virginia wrestled Oklahoma, Hornfeck had one of the more impressive performances in that match. Lost 5-3 to number 13, Justin Thomas. So he was there with that level of a guy, which I think speaks volumes to what we're seeing out of Ed Scott right now.
Because, again, Hornfeck, whether it's in the classroom or on the mat, he has been one of the top guys for West Virginia for a couple of years. And, this is his 4th year. And Scott, yes, it's his 2nd year, but again, he was in the lineup.
Wrestle from it.
But at a different weight. Things just very different last year. And so there's Coach Flynn looking on.
Yeah, and in a normal year, Ed Scott got 12 matches last year. In a normal year, 12 matches for a freshman that's redshirting is 2 open tournaments.
That's nothing.
Maybe 3. But still, you get the point. But that was a great shot there from Hornfeck and an even better sprawl by Ed Scott to get out of danger.
Green, it's going to be your choice.
15-6 as we head to the 3rd period.
Down.
And, hey, wise move, right? You want to be able to wrestle, so why not cut to be able to get into the lineup right away? It makes sense, but now much more comfortable at 157. I mean, this is
cover.
A guy who has gotten a lot better, they say, in just the past year.
Yeah, you're seeing it on the mat right now. And the thing Pat Papalizio said about Ed Scott, he thinks he's more relaxed out there just because he's not having to worry about the weight. And this is the weight they always envisioned him going, was 157.
Him being relaxed is scary. Talking about a guy coming out of high school, 100 wins in high school is really impressive. He had 105 pins in high school. Not wins, pins with a P.
Yeah. Not to mention his record was 151-6.
Well, think about that. 2/3 of his wins were by fall.
Quite impressive.
Speaking of impressive now, 17-6, the lead. Riding time is locked up as well.
Still red.
Yeah, he's going to eclipse 3 minutes of riding time here shortly.
Still red, still red.
And Hornfeck, a guy
neutral.
who finished in the top 8 at the Big 12 tournament last year. He finished 6th.
Yeah. At this weight class, too. So I think that's a good sign for NC State fans that 157 isn't too big for Ed Scott the way that he's holding his own out there right now.
And you see Hornfeck certainly with the length advantage.
Sure.
But Scott just looks too strong.
He looks strong, and he is so active and neutral. It's awesome to see. That's what you want to see out of a guy like Ed Scott.
Fingers, break that finger lock.
Putting up points in bunches. He's already got 20 locked up and looking for more.
That should be it right there. That is a takedown. Scott might not have enough time to complete the tech fall, but he got as close as you can to it. Almost 3.5 minutes of riding time, 3:26, and it's going to be a 22-8 major decision victory.
So Ed Scott lights up the scoreboard. 22-8.
And like you said, that awkward headlock he threw at the end of the first period really broke things open.
Intermission coming up. The fans delighted to see Ed Scott in his first appearance in front of the Reynolds faithful. We welcome you back to Raleigh. Papalizio's posse in the house, 18-0 NC State, ranked 5th in the country over West Virginia. As we look forward to our top bouts of this duel at 165 pounds. But first, here in intermission, a quick look inside the top 10, a place that NC State has made home, and the Wolfpack getting their dual season underway. Wait, we've already seen a good top 10 matchup, Virginia Tech and Ohio State. Virginia Tech obviously is NC State's best competition in the ACC. What are your overall thoughts on this top 10, Ryan?
Yeah, I think Iowa and Penn State are probably leading the pack there. Those two are a little further out than everybody else when we talk about the NCAA championships, tournament scoring versus team stuff. But it's going to be real tight for those final 2 team trophies at the NCAA championships in March.
We look forward to that. And hey, NC State, has been ranked in the top 10, 85 straight weeks. Here's how they finished. Of course, really, really disappointed. They felt like they were peaking at the right time in 2020. Obviously, that one canceled, but yeah, you see they got the trophy in 2018, tied for 4th, 6th last time out. And this is a team that, once again, is thinking about a team trophy.
Yeah, the race was obviously tight when they tied for 4th back in 2018. I would not be surprised to see it that tight again this season.
Well, here's the wrestlers in the top 25 according to Intermat, and yeah, that's the Wolfpack lineup right there.
Yeah, everybody's in there, ranked among the top 31 at their weight, I believe, according to Intermat. So quite the starting lineup. We've talked about the depth, but they've got a good guy at every weight class, the Wolfpack does.
And another veteran here at 165. 17th ranked Thomas Bullard against 16th ranked Peyton Hall. Now, we talked about Peyton Hall off the top, but this is the marquee match. This is the one that we had circles. What are your keys in this one? What are you looking for?
Well, both of these guys are really, really good on top. It'll be interesting to see if either one wants to choose bottom on the other. Everybody knows Thomas Bullard's very good on top. Peyton Robb is the same way. He's got some big wins in his career, and this is a phenomenal matchup, our best of the day. And like I said at the top, depending upon which set of national rankings you look at, in 2 of them, Hall is ranked higher. In 2 of them, Bullard is ranked higher. This should help determine that and make it a consensus.
Both guys unbeaten this year. Bullard 4-0, Hall 6-0.
Break that finger lock.
Hall with a major decision win over Oklahoma's Troy Montanona to get his first dual win of the season.
Yeah, and he had some quality wins over ACC opponents at NCAAs last year on his way to making the blood round. Beat Jake Keating of Virginia and Kennedy Monday of North Carolina. 2 guys Thomas Bullard's very, very familiar with.
Bullard with the ankle pick and now potentially dangerous. So Hall able to get out of it.
Yeah, they just watching for Hall's knee there. But that was a good shot there from Bullard. He has really developed that low single shot and gotten very good with it. That's kind of his go-to shot now. That's always been the question with Thomas Bullard and his older brother Daniel, who was an All-American last year. How can they get their takedowns? And they really developed on their feet over the last 18 months or so.
Thomas won the Wolfpack Open by tech fall with the win over his teammate Daniel Cates. The Wolfpack will likely look to wrestle Cates a good bit this year, but when the lights are on brightest, obviously Thomas Bullard in his 6th year, this is his spot at 165, a guy that, again, they expect him to be able to go deep in the postseason.
They completely expect him to be an All-American wrestler this year. Like I mentioned, his brother Daniel was able to do it last year. Thomas not quite able to break through. Dealt with injuries early last year, and I think that played a big part in him coming back for his super senior season and trying to see if he can finally reach the podium.
And speaking of expecting to be an All-American, I think that's the expectation for West Virginia of Peyton Hall as well, a guy who was blood round last year.
Yeah, exactly. Like Tim Flynn told us, he's a guy we can build around, and that is exactly what the Mountaineers are trying to do.
Now, he's got some pressure and some responsibility on him here as the top wrestler for West Virginia.
Yeah, a lot of pressure.
Not the opponent, right?
Yeah, especially as a sophomore.
There's Daniel Case
Right
looking on. Expect him to see quite a bit of time at 165. Very talented wrestler for NC State. So first period, no points, and now again we get to see these guys.
Green is going to defer to red.
We'll see how they choose. Peyton Hall's coming off a pin against Davidson. He hit a cradle on Jaden Hardrick with 39 seconds left in the bout, so he's got some good momentum coming into this one.
Covering.
He's going to have an opportunity to show off his ability on top.
And Bullard does choose down, so we'll see how quickly he's able to escape. Tried to float his hips over his opponent. He's kind of in like a single leg position here.
Yeah, he is. How about this? But no escape yet, but obviously he's thinking about a chance to reverse.
Yeah, technically has not escaped yet, even though they're both standing neutral and Bullard's in control. And Bullard really needs to look for his trip here. Instead, he's just going to keep spinning behind, and now that allows Hall to get his whizzer in, and now he's back in control.
Yeah, no escape.
So Hall was able to rack up riding time that entire sequence, almost up to a minute now.
We were talking about the potential for a Bullard reversal, and obviously it's not scored that way, but it was effectively that way, obviously able to change the entire momentum right there. When you're hopping up on one leg, oftentimes Thomas Bullard's going to be able to finish that.
Yeah,
excellent job by Hall.
He is usually able to finish those singles because he gets into them quite a bit now. And good defense there from Hall, good scramble, and he stays in control.
Up over a minute of ride time. There's the escape from Bullard's.
Riding time is at 1:09. Important to note that. Although I think Thomas Bullard's able to ride somebody for 9 seconds in his sleep.
Yeah.
So it'll come. It might come down that does Hall go underneath or not.
Takedowns at a premium in this one. Trying to throw by.
And we've talked about everyone that changed weights. Thomas Bullard is back at 165 for the Wolfpack, the weight class he's qualified for NCAAs at the last 3 years. But he did contemplate a move down the 157.
Green, your choice.
I think it ended up being a better move for the team for him to stay at 165.
It's definitely something they certainly looked into, right?
Yeah.
Get set.
And the thing that Pat Papalizio wants to see out of him, he says when Thomas Bullard wrestles with a little bit of emotion, he's very dangerous.
Caution here for Hall. Again, he knows how important it is to be able to get out in 9 seconds or less. To his feet early.
Man, there are not many guys you see put Thomas Bullard in this position off bottom.
So it is under a minute of ride time, but Hall now thinking about his offense.
And the referee giving him a chance to work here.
Hall with the takedown.
He awarded the reversal.
We got green.
And a second stall. I'm a little bit lost. Did you see the first stall, Ryan?
I didn't see the ref put. I saw him put up 2 for the reversal.
2 reversal.
There's 2 for Bullard on a reversal.
It must have been.
Red.
I'm trying to go through it in my head. Maybe he called a locked hands there. I didn't see a locked hand signal though.
Still red. Work. Oh, green.
It was certainly the 2 awarded first, and then an extra one, which was called as a stall. But I didn't see the first warning, so I think you're right. It might have been a locked hands. Either way, we know it's 3-3. Our producer Matt Curry is telling us, yeah, they think it was a locked hands call. So now we go under a minute to go, and Bullard going to have to try and ride this out.
Run, we're neutral.
Hall with the escape.
Peyton
Hall with a late lead.
Bullard's got 40 seconds to get a takedown here.
Coming down the stretch, 2 guys we think could be All-Americans this year. The highlight of this duel.
Nothing, we're neutral.
Hall really pushing the pace against Bullard.
Center.
There's 2 more, and Peyton Hall on the road against a veteran in Thomas Bullard. He has come up huge in this third period.
That was an incredible throw by and takedown there on the edge from Peyton Hall. As Bullard was working those underhooks and trying to maybe coax a stall call out of the referee, and Hall turns it into his offense. Nice job by Peyton Hall.
Set, covering, set.
That essentially ices this one.
Green.
just in his second year at West Virginia. Peyton Hall with an impressive victory over Thomas Bullard, 6-3. And he's got the Mountaineers on the board.
We knew that was going to be a good matchup coming in. We said that was the one to watch today. Did not disappoint. It was a close one. Of course, there was probably a little bit of controversy with it as well. And right here you see Bullard was trying to turn it into his advantage. He awards the reversal there. And here's the final takedown where Hall just gets the throw by on the edge of the mat, gets his two, and ices that match.
So now we move to 174 pounds, 18-3 now as Hall gives West Virginia its first points. And 174, the headliner, of course, Hayden Hidley, ranked 5th in the country. That's not as low of a number that has usually been against Hayden Hidley, next to Hayden Hidley's name. He has not wrestled yet this year. He's moving up 2 spots. And 174 is an absolutely loaded weight in the ACC, so he's going to have some great competition. He's going to face Dennis Robin at 174 for West Virginia.
Hayden Hidley, a guy, a first 4-time All-American in school history. He's been to the NCAA finals, but he is out here, much like we talked about with Tariq Wilson, looking for that national championship.
Has eluded him to this point. Moving up 2 weight classes, but as you see right here, Coach Pop said, you know, he was strong for 157. He expects him to be strong at 174 as well. You know, normally, if you were to move up 2 weight classes, that's the biggest issue potentially, right, is are you just strong enough for the weight? But that's not going to be an issue for Hidley.
I don't think anybody has ever worried about strength with the Hidley ever. And the other advantage that moving up 2 weight classes for Hayden Hidley does is it makes him the faster guy in probably almost every matchup. He talked about that with Coach Popolizio this year and said, I just feel so much faster than everybody else. And Coach said, well, you are. You've been wrestling these 57-pounders. And you know the Hidleys love their underhooks. Hayden turns that one into some quick offense, right into a tilt.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3,
plenty of back points here.
4, home 4.
4 swipes.
Same, 4.
Dennis Robin, seeing one of the best to ever do it in the ACC, Hayden Hidley. Dennis's father, Dale, actually wrestled at App State a couple hours down the road here in North Carolina. There's above a minute of riding time now for Hidley.
Continue to work.
So yeah, going for he's already got a record 4 times. Trying to be a 5th-time All-American, but what I'm interested to see really this year is at 174 pounds, he's undefeated all time in the ACC. Can he continue that this year when you've got such depth in the league? That's to me one of the most interesting storylines about him moving up to 174 pounds.
I think that is one of the ACC wrestling storylines of the year. I mean, you look at what this conference has at 174 pounds. You got former national champ Mekhi Lewis for Virginia Tech. You got Hayden Hidley out here right now putting on a show. And then there's Matt Finesilver from Duke. He's back in the lineup. All 3 of those guys are ranked in the top 8 nationally.
Yeah, we know about the Finesilvers from Duke, but that's really the one to circle is Lewis and Hidley coming up later this year.
That's going to be a matchup everybody in the country that cares about wrestling will be looking forward to. And I should mention, there's 3 other guys in the conference ranked nationally at 174 pounds according to Intermat. It is the only weight class in the ACC where all 6 competitors are ranked among the top 33 by Intermat.
You talk about a test and getting you ready for NCAAs, right?
Too early on the top, too early top.
Caution to Hidley. Right, now,
Covering legal.
During that little break, Coach Flynn went to the table, and I'm not sure exactly what he was looking for.
Still red. 1, 2, 1. We're neutral.
There's an escape from Robin.
Center, guys. Work center here.
Big first period
Red
for Hayden
choice,
Hidley
red
that included a
choice.
4-point near fall.
Red is going to go down.
All right.
Second period.
Wrestlers in the Intermat class rankings.
Good set.
And NC State,
Set.
yeah,
Cover.
9. You know, we know that
Set. Nope. Toss
there's
on
some
the
good
green.
depth in the ACC. Pittsburgh has some really top-of-the-line guys,
Good set.
and Virginia Tech is
Set.
also
Gonna be a
so
pause.
tough. They
Set.
pushed
Cover
Ohio
legal.
State right to the brink the
Set.
other day. But you look on that,
One.
and NC State has more depth than anyone.
Yeah, that's how it appears in the rankings, but that's just on paper. They still wrestle these matches for a reason, and you know everyone's going to be getting better by the time conference action rolls around.
Yeah.
Nothing neutral.
Another throw by to a shot
neutral.
from that underhook for Hidley.
Still neutral. We're still neutral.
Adam Hall telling Hidley to control the knee here.
2.
And he does work above that knee to score 2.
Continue to work.
Hidley just racking up the points here.
Down.
Pretty good debut at 174, huh?
Okay, set.
Yeah,
Cover
not
and
too
legal.
bad.
Good start here, guys.
You know, this is probably what most people expected. He is a guy that
Red.
91 and
One
8
neutral.
in his college career, ranks second in school history for all-time win percentage, behind only two-time national champ Nick
2.
Wisdowski.
See Coach Hall.
1.
Look how
Vocal here is Hidley. Another turn.
he makes those 4-point tilts look so easy. He really does. He's closing in on a technical fall here. He would have it with the riding time point, but that doesn't get awarded till the end of the match.
See Coach Hall tell him, hey, one more, you're at 14 right now.
Yep. All he needs is a quick 2 count.
1.
Nope.
No.
He got
Nope,
1.5, and then a shake of the head, and then another swipe. The count restarted just that
I
close.
think he got 1.5 and then 1.5 again. So he's not going to end it this period. Dennis Robin
Break easy, guys.
survives
Break
to
easy,
the
green,
third
your
period.
choice.
And he's going to get choice. What's he do here?
What do you want?
Tim Flynn says you
Gonna go
you
neutral?
decide, and he picks neutral.
Hands off the ramp. Set.
So a takedown will complete the technical fall here for Hidley. The way he's been so fast off of those to turn him the turns, he might put him in danger and get a chance to pin
Nothing
him.
neutral. Danger 1. Neutral.
Yeah, the quickness of Hidley at 174 really showing up here against Robin.
2.
There's 2, and that'll do it. A tech fall victory for Hayden Hidley, 20-3 over Dennis Robin, of West Virginia.
Hayden Hidley stealing his brother's celebration and raising the roof here at Reynolds. And here's one of those 4-point near fall turns that Hayden Hidley racked up. Did it twice in the match. We'll be back after this.
(23-3) NC State over West Virginia. So with 3 bouts to go, the Wolfpack have locked up this duel, but don't tune out by any means. You got Trent Hidley going here at 184 pounds. He's ranked 3rd in the country. Isaac Trumbull's ranked 19th, and then we've got a ranked matchup between Owen Treffin and Michael Wolfgram that we're looking forward to at heavyweight. So still quite a bit to enjoy here. Matt-sided Reynolds and Trent Hidley making his debut.
Throwing the headlock.
Immediately against Anthony Carmen, Trent Hidley.
This is going to be tough for Carmen to survive here. Once Hidley picks that head up, he's going to get stuck.
And a pin. You think Trent Hidley was ready to go this year? About 23 seconds into his season, he earns the victory.
And then he raises the roof. Well, why don't we just watch that whole match over again? We might have enough time to do that. Hidley starts digging that under, and then rips the headlock when his opponent starts digging back. And from there, it was just a matter of time. I don't care who you are, you're not getting out of that when Trent Hidley is this fired up.
Raise the roof, little air guitar as well. Wow. Keep in mind, 23 seconds in, we really didn't get to tell you much at all about either wrestler, but Anthony Carmen finished 8th in the Big 12 last year.
That just shows you the level that Trent Hidley is at.
And Hidley, you know, Coach Pop told us he felt like there would be some good vibes, some good energy with the Hidley brothers going back-to-back. They always pay so close attention to each other's matches, but especially going back-to-back, that would maybe be beneficial, and especially, you know, Trent feeding off of Hayden's performance. And he said, okay, big bro, you got a tech fall. I'll do you one better.
And he did, 1 point better. And this is what Pat Popolizio told us before the season. He said, Trent Hidley is going to win national titles with an S.
Plural.
At NC State. And he's on the path to doing just that.
At 197, 19th ranked second-year freshman Isaac Trumbull against the senior Jackson Mumma of West Virginia. Mumma picked up his first victory of the season against Davidson. He's now 1-3. Trumbull is a perfect 8-0, but Mumma in his career just 16-44 overall. And so on paper, again, this is why you wrestle him. You can't wrestle him on paper, but Trumbull, the big favorite, and man, he made a huge splash last year. You see, he's very tall for 197. He won the Wolfpack Open, and he's a guy that is dangerous. He can hit some big moves.
Yeah, he loves big moves. He's a pinner. He's always able to pin you, and he's got some big wins as well. I don't think anybody will ever forget his first dual appearance last year. He goes out and dominates Nino Bonacorsi of Pittsburgh, and all Nino Bonacorsi did the rest of the year was make the NCAA finals.
And he takes down Mumma.
Stay legal there. Stay legal with that.
But it was not Trumbull who wrestled at NCAAs at 197 for NC State. But he's hoping this year, this is his year really to shine in what is, again, kind of a second freshman season.
Yeah, he ended up losing the wrestle-off before the postseason started to teammate Nick Reenan. Reenan has dropped to 184, so this spot is all Trumbull's, and now he's looking for a pin.
Mumma able to roll out of it. Got 2 points there for the near fall.
Continue to work.
We talked about this a little bit with Ryan Jack. Isaac Trumbull 8-0 this year, only wrestled 7 matches last season while splitting time with Nick Reenan.
Yeah, the experience, you're able to gain it a little quicker, and especially those open tournaments. That's good to be able to wrestle, you know, more than once in a day, because that's something you got to get used to. Is Trumbull once again here getting I only saw 1 swipe.
Yeah. And the thing Pat Popolizio has said about Isaac Trumbull, he's a little salty. He didn't get a chance to wrestle at NCAAs last year, but he feels like Trumbull has used that in a positive way.
4 points. Has not released that hold yet.
Same. Holding 4 still, holding 4, same. 4.
And now they get awarded. All right, 8 points in the first period for Isaac Trumbull. He got to his offense early. How about
what do you want?
a minute and 54 seconds of riding time?
Go down.
Yeah, got to his offense and
On my whistle,
stayed with his offense, getting 6 near fall points after that opening takedown and nearly 2 minutes of riding time.
Young man from Springfield, Nebraska.
The coaching staff says he's also one of the hardest workers on the team.
1.
And when you hear that, you can expect a guy to make improvement quickly.
Break that lock. Break it.
I wonder if he's still working hard at changing the vibe in Raleigh to be a little more small town. If he's still waving at people as he drives by him.
That's what he told me last year. He was a little disappointed that he would be waving people driving by him, and they didn't return the favor. The small town kid in the big city now, I guess you could say.
Center, gentlemen.
I do think as time goes on, more and more people are going to know who this Isaac Trumbull character is. I think he threw everybody off, though, when he cut his hair.
I think, hey, when he made his debut, when he beat Bonacorsi, I think a lot of people found out who Isaac Trumbull was.
Fingers.
Yeah, that win has aged very well.
Fingers, guys. Break that lock. Get out of it. Get out of it.
But yeah, the buzz cut look, we saw Camacho doing the same.
Can't be late.
Taking after you, Ryan.
I can't rock that salad like I used to.
You are a wrestling influencer.
I wouldn't go that far.
Speaking of the salad, the lettuce. What do you think about Mumaw?
Yeah, I was just going to say that is some. The hair Trumbull came in with probably was longer than that, but that was some Trumbull-like hair from Mumaw.
Mumaw has been much more competitive here in this second period. It's just been the escape from Trumbull, and that's it.
Fingers.
Yeah, Trumbull was really breaking things open with that top work in the first period.
Neutral.
And Mumaw is going to choose neutral here. He does not want to go back underneath. Probably the smart decision. Nice fake there from Trumbull. Not a whole lot of movement from him, but quite the reaction from Mumaw.
Not trying to score off of a Mumaw shot.
Nothing here, neutral, 2 red.
He just makes it look easy. I don't know if it's how long he is or what. But
you have to think that's probably it. And now when he is on top.
2. Okay.
And the NC State bench definitely thought that should have been a couple of swipes. And yes, we didn't see the swipes, but now here comes some more. 2 points were awarded. And this is going to be a tech fall when he releases it, and there it is.
Dominant effort.
We saw Mumaw in neutral was able to hang all right with Trumbull, but when he got on top, the bonus points came quick.
Yeah, and that's just an outstanding effort from Isaac Trumbull, the repeat freshman for the Wolfpack. And you see here were 4 near fall points on that tilt. We'll be back after this message.
We reach the finale here, heavyweight. Owen Treffin against Michael Wolfgram. You know, we figured, Ryan, that 174, 84, and 97, we're going to go NC State's way. They're so tough at those weights, but how impressed are you seeing the pack go tech fall, and tech fall?
Yeah, I don't know if you asked me before the match if I would have bet on quite such a big margin for those matches, but those guys did look great, and they rolled as expected. We've got a competitive one here.
This is 20th ranked redshirt freshman Owen Treffin against 33rd ranked sophomore. And Keep in mind, it's just his second year, Michael Wolfgram. And Treffin in early. He scores. Now, keep in mind, Wolfgram beat 17th-ranked Josh Henselman of Oklahoma for his first dual victory of the season. So he already has a ranked win. He is a very tough wrestler for the Mountaineers. But Treffin, ACC Wrestler of the Week, he looks like it so far.
Yeah, that was a great shot from the big man. I think that's something that a lot of people will see as they're watching this match. Treffin put on a lot of good weight from last year. He wasn't a big heavyweight last year, but he is a super athlete for his size.
Young man from Summerville, South Carolina, 6-1 on the year. He finished third at the Wolfpack Open, but again, he's the ACC Wrestler of the Week for his work at the Citadel Open. He went 4-0, outscored his opponents 40-9, and that included a 7-point win, 10-3, over Deontay Wilson, who has been the guy for NC State the last couple of years at this spot at heavyweight.
Yeah, and not only has he been the guy, he's been the guy that's come up big in some huge moments for the Wolfpack. I think everybody remembers the Carolina match 2 years ago when it came down to him and he tallied the winning takedown to secure the dual victory in the last 15 seconds, and the roof blew off this place.
Still red.
But again, we've talked a lot about the depth that Pat Popolizio has in his room, and that extends to heavyweight, where you have a guy who's been a multiple-year starter like Deontay Wilson, and it's still very much up for grabs right now. And Coach Popolizio wants to see, you know, Treffin won the last time against Wilson, so he gets the start here today.
Yeah, he's actually won twice against Wilson if you include the unofficial wrestle-off that they had before a football game. But here's the thing. It's not just those two in contention. There is a third heavyweight on the roster, Tyree Houghton, former 197-pounder who's moved up, and he arguably had the best performance at the Wolfpack Open last weekend. He should have beaten Hunter Katka, an NCAA qualifier from Virginia Tech. There was a refereeing error that sent the match to overtime, and he lost in overtime. But that was an eye-opener and indicates this is really a three-way battle right now.
We're neutral.
Well, as a coaching staff, that makes your decision a lot harder. And you say, yes, it's good to have options, but they also say three's a crowd. I mean, how do you keep guys happy when there's three competing for that spot?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Pat Popolizio talked about it. He said, I hope a lot of these guys look at it, you know, returning starters who aren't starting or a guy who's in a competitive weight. He hopes they look at it positively and use it positive, because it can go one of two ways, and it's not always going to go positive.
Here's what's upcoming for NC State. They've got Gardner Webb at home on Friday the 2nd, and then on the road to Boone. Always a great place to go. There's an escape and a quick one from Treffin. So he's still got the ride time at a minute 15.
He was really able to rack up some time there in the first period. Gets out in plenty of time here to start the second. And I think what Pat Popolizio...
Up next graphic, and with Gardner Webb, App State, the collegiate duels, and then the Southern Scuffle, and the start of 2022, right? It's New Year's Day and the second.
Offense.
That'll tell them a lot. Road swing continues at Ryder, at Princeton, and then you get into ACC's home against Virginia Tech. Circle that one on January 21st. It'll be on ACC Network as part of the very popular Friday night duels. And there is a takedown and a quick escape for Treffin, but the first takedown for Wolfgram.
Yeah, and you kind of saw some of the athleticism there from Treffin, trying to funk out of that a little bit, not able to do so. Good job by Wolfgram.
But again, because he's been able to escape so quickly to start the period and then right after the takedown, still the right time point right now. And another takedown for Wolfgram.
Off.
And the 2 was awarded wrong wrist there. It was awarded to red, but certainly Wolfgram's takedown, no doubt about that.
No question. We'll see if Owen Treffin can get out in 9 seconds. That'd be huge.
Trying to get to his feet. And well done by Wolfgram. So he'll take a 1-point advantage, but keep in mind, The ride time still at 1 minute and 4 seconds to Treffin, so he's got an extra point in his back pocket for now.
And he's got a chance to really build up that riding time here.
Much better offense from the Mountaineer. Wolfgram there in the second with those 2 takedowns.
Improve, gentlemen, work.
To his feet.
1.
And he escapes. So Treffin's going to need a takedown here.
Yeah, even with the riding time point, it's 6-5 in favor of Wolfgram. Treffin's got 65 seconds to score a takedown here.
Well, you talked about his athleticism, and he showed it certainly in the first period. How much does he have left in the tank here in the third? And Wolfgram.
Nothing yet.
And that shot.
Great shot.
Yeah, that was a great shot by Wolfgram. And I think what opened that opportunity for him was that was not a great shot from Treffin. It was kind of straight on, not much of a setup.
Center.
And really let his opponent almost get an advantage. And that's going to be a stall call against Treffin. Just his first, but something to watch.
Half a minute to go. And a good sprawl from Wolfgram.
Work from it, work from it.
Looked like it was a good initial shot from Treffin, but Wolfgram with a really good sprawl. That's a lot of weight to try to keep in there.
Again, he's already got a ranked win this year. Twice was a medalist in Pennsylvania. He's from York, Pennsylvania. Finished 3rd and 4th in his high school career. Treffin trying to do work late, but there's Wolfgram once again circling. And Michael Wolfgram gives West Virginia its 2nd win of the duel in what was an anticipated heavyweight matchup, and give him his 2nd top 20 win of the season.
Yeah, good result there for Michael Wolfgram. West Virginia takes 2 matches. The Wolfpack takes 8 in pretty dominant fashion, though, overall.
So Pat Popolizio and NC State start the year off right. The season opening dual win for the Wolfpack. Number 89 for NC State in the last 7 years. Leaders in the NCAA. We saw Hayden Hidley, his brother Trent with the pen. Tremendous work from the Wolfpack. 34-6 the final for our great crew and my partner Ryan Tice. I'm Andrew Sanders saying so long. Hope you enjoyed this one. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody. This has been a presentation of ESPN.